This is Amplify You, the podcast about you discovering your message and broadcasting it to the world. If you're a coach, author, or speaker, you'll want to tune in. If you're looking for the best return on your time investment to get your message out to the world in a bigger way, we're giving you full access and behind the scenes look of how we're running our podcast, how our clients have found success, and what you can do to launch your podcast today. The world needs your message. I'm Michelle Abraham, the host. Join my family as we unleash your unique genius and find the connections you need to launch your adventure today. Join us and let's get amplified. Hello, Amplify You family. Michelle Abraham here. Today, I am bringing you a behind the microphone interview with Pinky Gadiali, who is the host of the Net Woman Uncut podcast. She is the founder of netwoman.co all the way from Scotland. She founded that company in 2015, where she has been helping women who are feeling alone, isolated, or stuck in their business careers and helping them get out there in the world, have more business friends and opportunities, generate leads, and really develop their businesses to a much higher level. And we're going to talk a little bit more about what Pinky does in a moment here, but welcome, Pinky, to the show.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me, Michelle.
You are welcome. I'm excited to have you here too. And I think it's really cool. We met on the Grand Connection networking group, which is Susan and Carolyn's, which they're coming out with their podcast in January. It's very exciting. So I love how this world, I've seen you pop up on several of our podcasts recently. So super cool to finally have you on our show. So tell us a little bit more about how you get started in business and what led you to create the netwoman.co and also your podcast.
Yeah, I would love to share that. So I started my journey, let's say, after my optometry degree, where I really didn't find my passion or my purpose. And there's probably many people out there who do not really love what they do, and they're just doing what they're doing because it pays the bills. And the trouble with that is that you can get tired of it, and it just doesn't really feel right when you're going to work or doing the thing that you don't really love doing. So throughout my optometry career and working as an optometrist, I found that patients were coming to see me not just for their eyes, but for other things as well, which were things like life situations and struggles that they were going through, such as breakups or issues with their careers. And I would find myself almost coaching and counseling them through their lives. And I was always that person that people wanted to go and see for that. And I realized that I had a skill that I wasn't using properly to its full potential and its full ability. And at the time, I didn't really know how to use that skill. So as time went on, I ended up moving away from where I'm from, which is down in England, in the middle of England, a place called Leicestershire. And the reason why I moved up to Edinburgh was because I found love and I love the city. And so I stayed. So I've been up here for 12 years now. After having been in a very toxic relationship and coming up here, it was a breath of fresh air and quite honestly, a life-changing moment for me, because I moved up here with my son, who is now 13, and can't believe how old he is now. He's actually taller than me. And I moved up here and I thought, okay, this is my time. I'm going to start finding out more about me as a person. So I started getting really involved in personal development and podcasts and really learning about myself and seeing how I could grow myself. And then off the back of that, I started getting into coaching. And so a couple of years after that, I started learning about NLP and how that can change lives, and how the language we use is so important, how we really convey the information that we want to talk about is the language you use and how we use it. And it matters. Words matter. And I became really interested in that and decided to do more of that. So I qualified as a NLP master practitioner and hypnosis practitioner as well, and did coaching, mentoring with the Institute of Leadership and Management, which is big in the UK. After which, I started going to net. I love working with people who like they're moving forward. So if they're feeling stuck, or maybe they're in a career or a business that is just stagnant and not moving forward. And so from there, I would go to networking events and walk into a room. And in those days, of course, they were in person, not anymore, obviously, because of COVID. And just stand there and look at the room. And we're in the 21st century. And I'm thinking, something's got to change here. There's got to be more diversity here. And I went away on Friday afternoon, and I sat in my dark room, my optometry practice, and looked at the four walls and thought, there's got to stuck in and really have a safe space where they can come and be honest and have a sense of belonging and have a voice that's heard and feel recognized. And so I came up with an acronym for wine, because I really fancied wine that afternoon. I used to have events in Edinburgh and Glasgow for 4 years, which were really successful, but it was a very expensive hobby because I ended up spending more money on wine than I did actually making money. And the end of last year, I decided that I wanted to globalize the business and created netwomen.co. And then COVID happened, and that was almost like I just literally got my duvet, hid under it for a month, and just thought, that's it. I'm not even thinking about this now, because I've just changed my business to being global, thinking that I was going to have events around the world. That wasn't going to happen. There was definitely none of that happening. So I just stopped for a month. I was in complete denial. I thought this was all a big lie. Someone was just made this up. And that the world will go back to normal quite quickly. But it didn't. I know, right? It was still there. And the advantage of COVID has meant that I've met people like you, and I've met people from all over the world who have been open and willing to connect and realize that we are in a world of social disconnection right now. And what we need now more than ever is a platform where we can all collaborate and come and share not only our successes, but our failures as well. Because as an entrepreneur, we go through these phases of having a really bad day and having a really good day, and going back to, the recruitment company going, please take me back. I need a job. I need, consistent income, which has been a massive thing this year, I think, for many people, the fear factor of losing jobs and, having your own business that might fold because of what's happening right now.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Really grateful for COVID, really, in that respect.
Yeah, it's funny because you actually you had the intention to have a global business, and actually COVID actually forced you to have a global business, just like maybe not in the same sense that you were actually thinking of in the first place, but actually it was like online globally. You've met so many people from around the world online this year, and so have I. It's been incredible. And it's interesting because I probably wouldn't have been into so much online networking and like meeting new people online had COVID not happened, where I was kind of missing the in-person networking events because I live quite far away from like the city now. And but oh my gosh, I feel like more connected to people than ever before. Like, just there's been so many online events and so many opportunities to grow your business and meet new people this year because of COVID, forcing people to do online things is so interesting. I am with a group in Arizona on Tuesday mornings, and I'm with a group in, and I'm happy. I love to join your group too. And I think it's just so funny how different times of the week we could be with different people in different time zones.
Yeah, I think it's incredible how we've all been able to connect with each other quite easily, just from sitting at home. It's made it easier for working mums. It's made it easier for mums who've got, very young children who've not been able to come out to these events at night. And, like yourself, living far away from anywhere means now that you can attend all these events.
Yeah, it's really awesome. I love that. I'm going to talk about your podcast for a minute. So did you start your podcast before your business, or did you start it after your netwomen.co group started?
Yeah, so the podcast we launched in September of this year, which hasn't been that long. But actually what it has done, it's really made us stand out, because not every single business has a podcast. And what's really helped us do is help women come on, whether they want to come on anonymously or whether they want to share who they are and what business they have. It's a platform for women to come on and talk about their toxic relationships. So if they have had toxic relationships at work or at a personal level, it has been a great place to share their story, because everybody has a story about what they have experienced. And it's been that platform for women who feel like they want to share that, and maybe one person, even if it is just one person listening to that story about how somebody came out of adversity and is surviving and thriving now through whatever they did to help, is just incredible. How we can share that through voice and through video, and what we can do now with podcasts is great. And also we're sharing things like mindset, which is my key thing, mindset, and really talking about mental health issues that we're all facing right now and how to overcome them. What tools and tips have you used that can help, or what they've used that they could help other people as well? So that's been really good.
Yeah, and you have such a right attitude about that too. Like, if their stories could help just one of your listeners, like, oh my gosh, the impact that's going to make in the world is huge, right? Some of our clients are like, oh, we only had 100 downloads this week, and I was like, you guys, like 100 downloads, amazing. Like, if you look in your living room and you had 100 people there, you're definitely changing lives, and you're definitely making an impact. So that's the best, it's such a good way to like start, right? So I love your attitude about that as well. I think it's like, it takes one person to have a shift in their mindset or a shift in their life, or learning from someone else's adversity to really make a difference in their own lives. And that's the whole point of it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And like, I always go with the fact that if I just change one person's life, every day or whatever it is, through listening to a podcast or helping them, then I'm making a difference, and that's what's important to me.
Yeah, I love that. So cool. So how often do you guys meet at your networking group? So your netwomen.co, you have this group, they get together online. Is this something that everyone globally can join? How does it work?
Yeah, so we have events every week. Sometimes we have 2 events a week. We always have a coffee and chat, which is free for everybody to come along to. So It doesn't matter where you are in the world. If you can get up and come on a Zoom call, you can join us. And just all you need to do is register online on our website on netwomen.co, and that will give you access to the event. And you just need to be a member. Right now, our membership is free. So I would jump on now while you can. And then from next year, we're looking at a slightly different model where we'll be offering a trial period. So coffee and chat, we have wine nights. We just had a wine and chocolate night. That was great fun. We also have 2 speed networking events a month as well, which are really fun. We had that last night. That was brilliant. We just switched the rooms in the breakout rooms and come back to the main room. Then we have like a breakout question. And it's like, what do you feel you needed to have when you started your business? What do you wish you had when you started your business? And it really is such a supportive community, as my members keep telling me, that, you know, we believe in diversity, inclusion, and belonging. And that is so important to me. And having that community and that tribe around you, supporting you, who have your back, where you can bounce ideas off each other when we have our mastermind groups as well, which is brilliant, because it's bring a challenge to the group, discuss it in your breakout room for an hour, and, you know, come out of it and feel like you can move forward because you've overcome a certain challenge. And I also offer coaching, group coaching every month as well. So really helping people with different topics every month, such as imposter syndrome, anxiety, overcoming limiting beliefs, being able to come on and do a Zoom call, record a podcast, and overcome the fear of it, because many people fear listening to their own voice, seeing their own face on the camera. And all of these things need to be overcome so that you can get visible. This is to help you get visible, to promote yourself, and to be able to showcase your business to the world.
Yeah, you really get confidence from like actually showing up and taking the action and doing those activities, right? By exercising your voice and telling your story over and over. I know for me, like when I first started podcasting, it was so like awkward, and I didn't even know what I wanted to talk about on my show. It took me forever to figure out what show to do. And then once you get going, it makes it easier, right? The more you exercise the voice and the more you tell your story and talk to other people, it just gets way more comfortable. Now it's like not even a second thought before you turn on the recording, right? It takes that little bit of time, but it's really good. So I have a question for you about the women who, you know, you had an optometry degree and optometry business, like that's huge. That took a lot of schooling to go through. So that takes a lot of courage to leave that. So what were some of the things that helped you make that decision? Because I know there's so many people out there right now that are feeling called to serve at a higher purpose and do something different, but they've spent all this time in education and maybe their parents a little bit of pressure around the family to stay in that career that they spent so much time working on. What were some of the things that steps that you took to kind of get over there?
I would say that one of the major things for me was believing in myself. That I think that the turning point for me was definitely NLP and hypnosis, because I think those two things were very, very powerful in my life. I think without those two things, I probably wouldn't be where I am. The second thing that that happened to me, and what was part of my life, was having a very difficult marriage. And that toxic relationship, when that broke down, it hit me hard. It really did. And I found that really difficult to overcome. However, working on myself and working on reading books and really understanding and getting some real depth as to who I was as a person, because after after that, I really lost my identity because I just had a son. And, you know, when you become a mum,
Yeah.
you
Everything's a little
lots
foggy.
of things get foggy. You don't know who you are anymore. Sometimes it's like, I'm a mum, but then who am I? You know, I was somebody else before I was a mum, and you forget that person that you were. And I felt that real kind of pull towards, right, I really need to go away and have a good talk to myself here. And what can I do now? How can I change and turn this pain into power? How can I use the pain to propel me to help other women? And so my mission is to help women who have been in toxic relationships and have a foundation or a charitable cause off of netwomen.co, which will then help them. Because when I went through what I went through, I didn't get the coaching or counseling that I needed. I had to pay for it myself, but many women can't do that and don't do that, and then never heal from whatever past toxicity they might have faced. And that could even be in a work situation as well. So the courage and the bravery, I think, really came from that, going through adversity and coming out the other side and not feeling like a victim. Because when we victimize ourselves and think, oh, poor me, you know, I'm still in this situation and feeling sorry for myself. Well, actually, that's great. You can keep doing that all of your life, but actually you're not helping yourself and you're not helping other people either. So, you know, I think really thinking about what is it that you really want to do? What is your purpose? What is your passion? Have a think about your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? And if you're not loving what you're doing, you're not really going to be thriving in your life. You are, from day to day, not going to be enjoying what you're doing. It will just bring you down. So it's best to take a good look. I mean, I think this has been a really good year for people to be able to reflect and actually look at what they're doing. Right? And there's been so many people that have just all of a sudden gone, right, I quit my job. I
take a right turn here.
Why? Exactly. And it's just been amazing how many entrepreneurs have come out of this. So for that reason, I think that COVID has been a blessing in some ways. And certainly for supportive communities, netwomen.co has got, you know, female founders as well as career women who are undecided with their careers right now and wanting to move on, or are in a career and perhaps want to be promoted, because it is difficult to get to the top as a woman, because there's lots of limiting beliefs that we put on ourselves before we even try. Before we even get out of the door, we're already putting ourselves down and berating ourselves. So it's something that we really need to work on as women, and also not being afraid to break that glass ceiling. It's okay if you've got this big dream and you want to dream big. It's actually having that action to do it.
The courage.
Which is so, because it takes courage.
You know, it's funny, I hear so many people say, well, there's so many women's communities out there. And I was like, I know, but, you know, like there has to be, we have to kind of stick together. We have to help raise each other up. And I think like there's so much impact that could help worldwide that starts from the mom, the sister, the wife at home. That can then propel out into the world, right? Like if we're working on ourselves, we could be better moms, we could be better parents, we could be better coworkers, better entrepreneurs, better leaders in our communities, and also then raise great kids too. Like I think that there's so many things that start right from right at home, and especially with women. So I think we really think it's amazing what you're doing, really looking after women and helping them, you know, through the adversity and to see the other side. And then they can make such a huge impact in their communities too. So I think that's amazing what you're doing.
Thank you. And what you said about lots of women's communities, what I love about that is that there's 51% of the world's population is female, right? So, in terms of women's networks, what I believe in is that I think there's enough space for every single one of them. And the fact that there are more than one shows that they are so needed,
Mm-hmm.
that there are so many women out there who are desperate for this in their lives. They want to make a change, but they just don't know how, or they don't know where to go. But there are so many communities out there that you can pick. So find your tribe and find what works for you,
Mm-hmm.
because different communities will do different things for you, you know? So find that, because you do need that. You need that support, that sisterhood,
Yeah.
and that ability to talk to somebody that's not just your client.
Yeah. And like it's so supportive too. Like the sisterhood is like so non-judgmental, it's everyone's just lifting each other up. And I think that's what's really important, right? We're giving everyone the courage and the benefit of the doubt and the inspiration to like help each other, right? It's not competitive. It's not, that's the thing when they think about women's communities are catty and competitive. And I'm like, that's not it at all. No, like women's communities are really collaborative. And I think collaboration is like the new way of doing business, right? And that's how we're all going to succeed. So guys, make sure you go check out what Pinky's up to at netwoman.co. And that's where we can find more information about it, Pinky.
That's right. You can even come to our events without paying for membership. If you just want to come along just to check us out, you can do that too. You can come to as many or as little events as you like. We do not ask you to commit to a month full of events, because that would be a very busy calendar and diary for you.
Right.
So you just come to what you need to come to.
Okay.
And it's really important that you pick what you feel works for you. But yeah, feel free to check us out. I'm here on all the social media platforms at netwomen.co, and we do lots of different things. I'm sure you'll find something that works for you.
Yeah, and make sure you also go check out Pinky's podcast, and that Woman Uncut. That you can find that on all the major platforms. And so check out her podcast and listen to some of the stories of the women that she's interviewed. They're pretty inspiring. So you guys, until next time, Pinky, thank you so much for being with us today and sharing your insight all the way from Scotland. Your story is inspiring. And it's funny, we have I didn't realize that we both had NLP in our background. I was just this year had done my NLP certification. So that's so amazing. I love NLP as well. So, and thanks to Adele Anderson, one of our other fellow podcasters here, who introduced me and taught me my NLP certification. It was so really cool. So it's such a neat thing to like learn the language and all the things that come from what you say and what you do and how you do it. And it's really cool. So until next time, Amplify You family, be out there, be great, listen to your story, get your story out there in a bigger way. Don't be shy, get visible. And Pinky, thanks so much. We'll see you next time.
Thank you so much. I loved it.
You're welcome. I'll see you next time. Take care.